everybody. My name is Amber Vilhauer, and I'm an online business development expert. And I want to tell you a little bit about Eric Graham, who I think is by far the most phenomenal business coach of all time, how he and I came to meet and how he was such an integral piece of the success and the development and growth of my overall business online. I was fortunate enough to have met Eric before I even started the company at a conference. And I have to tell you, I was watching him up on stage, and he was giving this brilliant speech about conversion. And I took pages and pages and pages and pages of notes because everything that came out of his mouth was pure value. And compared to all of the other speakers on the stage, Eric took the cake. I mean, nobody else was giving the value like he was. And that left such a lasting impression with me that I wanted to make sure that he stayed in my vision and my eyesight as I continue to grow and develop the business. I had tremendous respect for everything that he was doing and saying. So fast forward probably 5 or so years, and the company continued to grow. I was doing a good job. We were growing on average by about, I'd say, 20 to 30% each year. And all of a sudden, I found myself at this place in my business where I felt a little bit in over my head. I felt like I had known enough about business to get to this point, but I honestly had no idea how to navigate beyond this. How was I going to grow and scale the company in 10x overnight what we were already doing without breaking the company? I immediately thought of Eric because he, continued to impress me over the years. And I thought if anybody knows how to up level to this degree and this quickly, it would be Eric. So I reached out to him. His coaching practice was full at the time. And I just remember being like, thinking I would do anything to be able to work with Eric. And so we had a lot of conversation. I have to tell you that the fears that came up for me in working with Eric, number one, I have to be honest that the price tag was very unnerving for me at first because, even though we had seen this growth, I didn't have the kind of margins at that time in the company to sustain a higher coaching rate. And I was really nervous about my ability to pay that month after month. And also, I was insecure of myself to a degree. I mean, I knew that Eric knew a tremendous amount about business, so I was a little embarrassed to have him see my business on the chance that maybe I had structured it incorrectly, or it turns out I didn't know what I was doing after all. And I think I was also, some part of me was nervous to really find out the depth of my greatness. And I knew that that would come up in the course of working with Eric because he's greatness. So those were kind of some of the things that I was battling with, but I also knew that it was time to step up to the challenge. No guts, no glory. So we had a lot of back and forth conversations. One of his coaching clients ended up switching gears, leaving an opening, in which case I took it. And I was so confident in that decision. It was honestly the best decision that I have ever made in the course of this entire business now. And this was even a few years ago at this point. But Eric immediately stepped in and saved the day. It was incredible how fast he was able to book a flight, came down for a full in-person 1-day visit. We got so much of the negotiation, the deals kind of hammered out. We figured out how to restructure the company to be able to handle that amount of scale. Talked through any kind of insecurities that I was facing, built up my confidence. There was so much strategic planning involved, and it was exhilarating to say the least. I mean, it was like, here's somebody who's extremely brilliant at business coming in to mine and just giving it all away, telling me everything I needed to know. I had never experienced anything like that on any kind of a level before. It was incredible. And out of that, we continued to do our coaching calls, more in-person visits, and that was also a fantastic decision for my business. And now we are at a place where just last year, the business grew by 70%. This year, we're having record-breaking sales months. I mean, I can't believe that I get to run this company. Sometimes I just get so excited. And I know that starts to sound a little, it sounds too good to be true, but honestly, it feels that way for me even. And truly, I just feel so blessed because I do get to run the company that I've always dreamed of. We do have that financial freedom. We do have stability. And I think part of that is coming from Eric helping to condition my mindset and teaching me what I really wanted out of business and out of life. And by the way, I still ask him for coaching advice. In fact, we just had another session not too long ago, and it was just as brilliant as it always is. I tell everybody about Eric. I have had multiple colleagues that have ended up working with Eric as a result of our relationship because I fully endorse everything about what he does. He is definitely, I'd say, one of the top people in this world that's giving the most. A lot of times when you hire coaches, they're either like recycling information that they heard from somebody else, or they just give you the ideas and you're left with figuring out how to execute it, or you just feel like there's something off, like they know a lot about this one area, but they don't know a lot about this whole other area. And none of those have ever been concerns for me when working with Eric. I mean, he truly dedicates himself fully to each of his clients. Frankly, I don't even know how he does it. He must not sleep ever. Yet, when I look at his Facebook posts and pages, and when I'm talking to him, he's always out playing. He's hiking with his daughters. He's supporting his daughters. He's just such an honest, true family man. And he's having all of these adventures and just enjoying the heck out of life. I mean, he's living proof. He's practicing what he's preaching. And he has so many different successful businesses. And that is really reflected in the advice that he gives you within his coaching as well. So he has that real life experience. He's not recycling anything from anyone. This is all real life experience. And again, although my initial fears were, could I afford it? Eric worked so hard to help me monetize immediately enough to cover his own coaching rate, so that right off the bat, that was no longer a huge concern. And instead, we just kept growing and working together. And it was just an overall amazing experience. And I feel really lucky at the opportunity to have met Eric. In fact, just last week, I sent him an email and I said, one of the top highlights of my whole life was meeting you. And I fully stand by that. And I hope you can feel the emotion of how genuine that is for me. So if you have the opportunity to work with Eric, whomever is watching this, wherever you are, maybe you're sitting in an audience or you're watching this on YouTube, I would say, go with your gut instinct, but you're not going to regret it if you decide to move forward with Eric, because he will show up and deliver so much that there's no way you could ever leave dissatisfied. So thank you so much for your time and listening to this message. I hope you found it helpful. And I'm around for any questions. If you want to ever talk to me about my experience further, feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Amber Vilhauer, and my website is insightfuldevelopment.com. Thanks a lot and take care.